Hi everyone. So I'm having a look at sugar. I just wanted to take you through the approach to it at the moment. So looking at the monthly, there's obviously a level of support, historical support that we've managed to break our way through, or at least that's where we are at the moment. A nice strong swing low after a big extended move to the downside. All right, so if I go through to the weekly, it's not a great chart really, so this is going to be an interesting trade setup. But what I would highlight is that we've got a bit of room until we hit at least the next level of support and resistance, so there is some potential profit on that trade setup. If we work our way through that, the next real level of significant resistance is sitting at 1300. And so the thing that isn't great about this is that there isn't already an established trend in place. So arguably, it's kind of a slightly higher risk setup. The best trade setups will come when your monthly and your weekly and your daily are all going in the same direction, and you pretty much don't have any resistance or support in your way. So in other words, you kind of got a free path. So then just having a look at the daily, you can see here that we kind of had a beautiful turnaround in terms of a downtrend shifting into an uptrend. We've got really good, clear, bullish divergence. All right, that has now effectively become convergent with price because now price is trending upwards. We've got a confirmed uptrend of higher lows and higher highs. What I like about this particularly is this very clear, crisp level of support and resistance that this bullish candle has now set itself up on. As it happens as well, the 10, 20, and 50 moving averages have all reordered into a bullish formation, and there is currently a very nice bullish candlestick that is setting up here. Okay, so these are my two levels of potential resistance closer to me at 1.16 and then 1.3 further away. So this is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to get in on the break of the high of this current candlestick with my stop loss below the low of that, which should have protection not only if this is the swing low, as the future will effectively clarify for us, but also that I should have some additional technical stop loss protection because it should be sitting below this key level. And then what I'm looking to do, and this is what I always do, I'll be taking some profit off the table at 1-to-1 and then preparing for price to see if we have a bit of a reaction against this level. But ultimately, if we break through that, I'll be looking to ideally target, let's call it 12.95 as the longer term potential target in that particular case. If price pulls back and I've got my risk reduced, I'll then look for a re-entry. So this is one of those things that might take me a couple of weeks to record. We'll see how it ultimately plays out, and then I'll be posting that at the end of the day. I posted the setup, or at least how it's got my attention. I posted live already. It's just that I'm now looking to record the process so that you can kind of see my thinking. So the pros are very nice. Uptrend price action in isolation looks really good. Those are the pros. Nice little retest of resistance as support, bullish candle. A little bit of room at least here for me to get at least 1-to-1 out of the trade and then get my risk reduced and my exposure reduced. Momentum indicators are nice and they're happy. There's no problems there. Cons, the monthly and weekly trends are not looking that bullish per se. They're just indifferent, and so that's not a great aspect. So definitely the idea of getting to at least 1-to-1 is going to be quite crucial in this particular trade. So remember that I'm approaching each trade. My analysis tells me there's a trade setup here, and I can objectively, unemotionally identify where the risks lie and how I'm going to approach it. I can either not take the trade, I could demo trade it, I can reduce my risk, or I can take it, but I need to be fully aware of where the dangers lie, and that's pretty much it. So let's see what the outcome is. Okay, so today is now the 4th of June, and I thought I would do an update on sugar. All right, so basically you can see that price unfolded, triggered very nicely. We've actually now gone past our 1-to-1. We're almost at a 2-to-1 in terms of taking some profit. But the move on it has been very nice. Kind of had a bit of a sluggish start, and then yesterday and the day before it had a really nice move thrust upwards. So you can see the previous cycles, if you kind of look at how far it went before it pulled back and then move up and pull back, we're sort of entering into that area now. There's also a level here. So this is going to be a bit of a key thing. We've broken up above these highs, so that supports the idea of price at least moving a bit further. But price might want to pull back down to about here and then continue on upwards. Alternatively, you might want to push up a little bit further and pull back and hit this level and continue on upwards. So what I'm going to be doing is I've taken profit off the table. I'm going to be putting my stop loss behind yesterday's candle, below the low of that for now. And so the idea being I've locked in profit, so I've already banked profit, and this will get me above break even. So this is going to probably be a 1.5% or at least maybe a 2%, we'll see. And so looking for that, if price does pull back, break up and pull back and I get another setup, I'll be able to re-enter that and I'll update you at that stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep recording this until it has effectively closed out, and then that's what I'll be looking at. So if I just go and look at the price action today on the lower time frames, you can kind of see prices trending very nicely. So it's a healthy trend. Looks really good on the 30 minutes, 1 hour. The angle's becoming a little bit parabolic, so it's probably due for a bit of a retracement. If for no other reason on the 4 hourly, at least a bit of a pullback there, which does bring me back down to kind of into these highs here. Overall, looking pretty good. I'm relatively happy with how this trade has turned out, and just demonstrating that the decisions for this were largely technical. And no, they were 100% technical actually, and just wanted to show you kind of how I would do that. But I figured it was best to record it until it's done, and then I'll post the entire video back up. Hi everyone, hello. It is Thursday the 11th of June 2020, and my sugar trade closed out, and actually this is the first chance I've had to do an update and a review on this trade. So just looking at it here on the 4 hourly as well, just showing that really solid move, and also on the daily you could just see how nicely that's actually, let's switch that up to a 1 hour. And so we've got 30 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily. You could just see here, this is the setup. Obviously we went through, hit my 1-to-1, 2-to-1, and then 3-to-1. And if we just enlarge this, so the way that I did it was I just split my orders in two. I have 0.5% on each one, or less, but not more than that. And then the first target will have a one-to-one target and just close out. So the reasons I do that, first of all, is that I found my personal comfort zone in terms of risk management. I like the idea of always taking money off the table, and from experience I've learned that I get a lot more break-evens than I do full losses if I do that. So that's my rationale behind that. It, funny enough, was just actually above these highs here in terms of price, and it hit that target. That was really nice. Also, if that happens overnight or when I'm not at my desk, it just banks the money and there's no discussion about it. So that's pretty cool. Then once I've hit my 1-to-1, I usually then start to employ a trailing stop loss, and it'll either be behind every second consecutive bullish bar in an uptrend or bearish candle in a downtrend. And in this case, I was just trailing it usually a couple of points below the low of each candle, which meant that it was actually below the low of this bearish candle, which was then subsequently hit at 1194, was closed out. I've just rounded the number, but effectively it was 1194 on this Tuesday. All right, so it looked pretty good. And in fact, if the 4-to-1 would have been a little bit up here out of reach, unfortunately it didn't hit a 4-to-1, that would have been nice as well, but it's fine. It really was a decent trade, and this is an average type of trade. For me, I really like the look of this. I'm expecting 3-to-1s on average, but also just that idea of taking some money off the table, which is an issue which can strike a lot of traders as they start to finally be able to identify winning trades. They find they're still losing money, and it usually comes down to one single thing, which is they're not taking profits. So I took some money off the table and then trailed my stop and got stopped out on Tuesday, and I'm very happy with the trade overall. You can see there's still some juice. It would have potentially gone on and hit a 4-to-1, but that's fine, because this kind of thing is pretty normal and standard to happen. I'm looking at price now to see if there's any more juice in the move. They may very well be. I'm just keeping an eye on that 4-hour time frame. There's probably some bearish divergence settling in here. If I just minimize the price here and then have a look at it, reduce price, starting to go a bit flat, if not bearishly divergent. So there's the possibility here there'll be a bit of a deeper pullback, which is acceptable. If I get a daily pullback, to go back to the daily chart here, if I do get a retracement back into the moving averages, back into that 1.160 level, and I get another bullish candle, I'll be looking to take another entry on that. If that does happen, I'll film that and create that as a new separate trade video. So is there anything, in terms of reviewing the trade, is there anything that I could have done differently? Well, unfortunately, I didn't have time to look for a tighter entry on the lower time frames. So from that perspective, no. My entry and my stop loss were perfectly acceptable below these levels of support and resistance. I took profit as it is. Right now, I don't really see anything that I would have done any differently. I think that the trade outperformed my expectations. I thought it might encounter some resistance here, and it broke right through and carried on. And I continued to take profit as it went. So I don't have any massive criticisms here. If you have any thoughts or comments you'd like to throw my way, please do chuck those in to the comment section of this video, and I will I'll review those and take them under advisement and give you some sort of response there. So thank you very much. Just really liking the look of this overall, and there are of course some opportunities across the other instruments at the same time.